G'day everyone, today we're going to cover how to change your government both peacefully and through civil wars, as well as how the diplomacy system works. I'll show you the easiest way to complete a civil war successfully 100% of the time, 90% of the time. But firstly, if you find this and my other videos helpful or entertaining, you better like and subscribe, or an Australian crested pigeon will follow you around and poop in all your beverages. I'll also have timestamps down below for you and a bonus tip, so stick around till the end. One of the most fun parts of playing Hearts of Iron 4 is the freedom to choose any nation and lead them in pretty much any direction that you want. You can play as Germany, Italy, the Soviets, America, or even Peru. And you can go and take over and invade pretty much every country to your heart's content. This is easier for some than others though. For example, any fascist or communist nations start the game with the ability to justify a war goal on anyone, which then allows them to declare war on people. For the democratic or non-aligned countries, you're going to need to change your government type for this kind of freedom. For some nations, such as France, the UK, or the US, you're going to need to change your government type through their political focuses, and the easiest way to find which focus will help you is to use the search bar up here in the top right of your focus menu, and look for keywords such as fascism or communism. That's going to show you one of these decisions, which will give you an advisor, or sometimes even just a national spirit, which will give you party popularity for your preferred party. For any nations without a unique focus tree though, you should just be able to hire the advisor that you need. There are two main ways that you can change your government type, either peacefully or through a civil war. The process for both starts off the same, with the civil war option being much faster than changing it up peacefully, although it will leave you with low stability, which you'll then need to build back up. To change your government type without a civil war, you need to get your party popularity above 50% for the party that you want. And then you need to choose the decision to hold a referendum. To start this process, you're going to need 150 political power to either hire the fascist demagogue or the communist revolutionary, depending on which path you want to take. They give a daily popularity gain for their respected parties. To change your government with a civil war, you only need 10% support for your preferred party to take the decision to prepare for a civil war. Then you need your stability to drop below 50%, and then you can trigger it, again with a decision. Regardless of which path you're taking to change your focus, it's best to change over as quick as possible to do the political effort focus first in the generic tree. This is going to give you 120 political power, which is almost enough to hire the advisor. Once you've hired the advisor for the peaceful method, you simply need to wait until your support for the preferred party reaches 50%, and then you can select the decision to hold a referendum. You'll first need to select this decision here to open up political discourse, which is available once no party has over 90% popularity. Once you select that, it's then going to give you further decisions, such as expand civil support, discredit government, and then that hold national referendum option. Both of these are going to boost your preferred party's popularity for a small hit to your stability, so just take these decisions to help you get the support that you need faster. Also remember that you need 100 political power to take the referendum decision, so I'd keep that amount in your back pocket at all times. Also, try not to let your stability drop below 50% or even sort of really low at all. The expand civil support option will reduce your stability quite rapidly, so you're better off doing the discredit government option and then just waiting. Once you've got over 50% for your preferred party, go back to your decisions menu and click this option to hold a national referendum. And just like that, congratulations, you've democratically removed democracy. Just take note of the in-game date here as well. I did this slightly slower than you could have possibly, but the 17th of September 1937. That's when you're able to change your government through peaceful means, which is quite a long time in Hearts of Iron measures. So now I'm going to show you the much faster way and easier way to change your government. When going for the civil war path, once you reach 10% popularity for your preferred party, you can go into your decisions tab, and then you have this option here to prepare for a civil war. Once we activate that, the next thing that we need to work towards is reducing our stability below 50%. To do this, we're going to use two decisions. The first is the expand civil support option again. This time, we don't really care about the popularity that we gain so much as the stability that we're losing. It doesn't matter how you get to low stability, as long as you do, and as such, the other decision I want you to take is commandeer civilian trains. This reduces your stability by 5% and gives you 15 trains, which for a small nation like Australia is a pretty big help. Now, once we get to under 50%, we can take the Ignite Civil War decision, which will split the country between the democratic government and the government that you choose. The civil war works the same as any other war, except the countries are less inclined to join in to a civil war. Any army that you have at the start of the war will be split between both sides as well, and sometimes this can make things exceedingly hard for you. So the easiest way to win these without having to worry about that is to delete your entire army, and then what you're going to do is add a single division in training of cavalry, which is best because they've got higher speed. And how that's going to work is when the civil war starts, the AI will get no divisions, but you'll have this single division here in your queue, and once it reaches 20% training, it'll be ready to deploy instantly, and then you can just take all the victory points unopposed. Okay, observe. So our stability is below 50%, so we can come into our decisions tab and ignite the civil war. That will kick off. Now you can see you've got the Democratic Australia on the western and northern half, and then us over here. And if you go into your deployment menu, you can see we've got our cavalry division at 93% training. So we can pop him down and deploy him instantly. It's also worth just queuing up as many other divisions as you have equipment for. Now what we're going to do is select our single division and just right click him onto the 2 enemy victory points. And we can just let it run and watch him take over that. Running the game at 5 speed, you should do this pretty easily. This works for most nations that you want to run a civil war in. Some are harder than others, especially for the large nations, but for most of them, this will work quite well. And there we have it. So we took the 2 victory points and we've won the civil war. When you're doing this method, try to deploy your divisions and take the enemy VPs as quickly as possible. The AI will also train and deploy its own units if you do take too long, so yeah, just try to take them as quick as you can before they're able to for an easy victory. And also, if you look at the in-game date, we've actually managed to do this almost a year sooner than going via the peaceful method. So it's definitely faster than without the civil war, and now we're free to justify and declare on whoever we like. Now, as I said, this works better for some countries than others, especially the larger nations that have a lot of victory points, or any nations that have civil war mechanics built into their focus tree, such as Spain. But this general concept should work pretty well most of the time. On a side note, after any civil war, you'll have this decision pop up called Rebuild the Nation. It seems like it gives you some pretty good bonuses like factory output and construction speed. However, if you look at the amount of political power that you're losing daily, and then the amount you're gaining at the top, it's going to hamper you pretty significantly. So I personally don't ever think it's really worth taking that. Now that we're a fascist or communist country, you can do all these fun and amazing things like justifying war goals, sending lend leases, or asking for military access through another nation. You name it, you can pretty much do it. You can view all these options either by opening up the diplomacy menu in the top left menu up here, or you can also just right click. If we close this, you can also just right click on a nation to view the diplomacy menu with them. Here you can see the options for declaring war, for which you would need a war goal, which sometimes comes from political focuses, and sometimes you can get it by just justifying a war goal. So that's going to cost us political power and time. So once this is complete though, that will just allow you to declare war on them. Keep in mind that if a nation is guaranteed by another, or in an alliance with another nation, when you declare war on them, you'll automatically be at war with any of their guarantors. Famous examples include Czechoslovakia, Romania, and Yugoslavia, all of which are guaranteed by France, which you can see on the left hand here. This is also going to show you any diplomatic actions that a particular country is taking. Like for example, if we click on France, you can see all the countries that they're guaranteeing. If we click on National of Spain, we can see that they are at war with the Republicans, and they currently have volunteers from Germany and Italy. You can also guarantee a nation if you like. If you come into the menu here, you'll see that option. Often you can only guarantee a nation that is the same like government type as you, or if you're in a faction like with Germany here, they're too powerful compared to us, so we can't guarantee them. However, I think if we come over to Peru, there we go, we can actually guarantee Peru. They're also a fascist government, they're not that much stronger than us, so now anyone that declares war on Peru, we would automatically get the option to declare war on them. It's worth noting as well that for every extra country that you guarantee, the cost is significantly higher. However, it can be an easy way to go to war with a country that you know has an early war. For example, if you're able to guarantee China and you want to be at war with Japan when they declare a war on them early in the game. You can also ask for and offer military access, which allows yourself and other nations to move units through each other's territory. You can also sign non-aggression pacts with someone that you might be scared of or you don't want to be at war with. You also have the option to ask to join a faction, which you can usually only do if you're the same political party type as that faction leader. If you are a faction leader as well, this decision allows you to invite people to your faction. The improved relations decision allows you to make a country like you more, thus increasing the chance of them accepting any of these requests that you might send. It costs you political power and as well as a daily cost, and you can see your current diplomatic relations with a nation at the top of their menu here. You also have the option to send a lend-lease of equipment and volunteer divisions to another nation that's at war. A lend-lease will require convoys, for example, if we try to send them all these guns, so you might want to send along some convoys with them to make sure that the nation is able to receive that. Sending volunteers is one of the ways that countries can get some army and air XP early in the game by participating in other nations' wars without being directly involved. The downside is that you do need to have more than 30 divisions to use this feature, so some small nations might miss out on this initially, like us currently. Democratic nations also need world tension to be at 100% send volunteers or a lend-lease, and sometimes they're not able to via a national spirit anyway, so again this is just another reason why it's worth changing your government type. Finally, you have the option of boosting your party popularity within another nation, and then you can stage a coup once their stability and party popularity reaches a certain level. This feature changes heavily if you own the La Resistance DLC. Basically, you can use this feature to try and overthrow rival governments. If you are going to stage a coup, just click on the option, select which state that you want to instigate the coup in, as well as the government type that you want to rise up there. If you are going to take this option, it's worth having a lot of equipment that you can send them in a lend-lease, as well as some strong volunteer forces to help them out. The last option we have here as well is to request garrison support. You can usually only do this if you're in the same faction as another nation. However, when you conquer enemy territory, you need manpower to suppress the people living there to reduce the resistance in those states. Some nations, for example, like Australia, are already short on manpower, so they can ask their faction members for more to help with this. It's a pretty big benefit of being in a faction aside from the military support, so remember this if you're starting to run low on manpower. Alrighty, so that's pretty much everything that you need to know about changing government and diplomacy in Hearts of Iron 4. Now it's time for your bonus tip. So I mentioned earlier with the Civil War method, the best way to do it is to delete all of your divisions and just keep one left. However, that doesn't work for some countries, particularly the larger ones. For example, the Soviet Union is a big one. If you're trying to do the Civil War as the Soviet Union, which is like a whole other kettle of fish, it can be quite hard to beat them, especially if you're going as Trotsky. The Soviets can deploy a lot of divisions. The Soviet Union has a lot of divisions at the start of the war as well. So yeah, this one's a particularly tricky one to go around. One way that you can make it a lot easier though is by, again, deleting all the divisions that you can. These divisions can't be deleted, so we just assign them down here out of the way, which leaves you with a massive stockpile of equipment. I am currently doing the focus. There's 2 days left before the Civil War will ignite. What we're going to do though is make sure that all of this equipment stays with us, and we can use the lend-lease mechanic to do so. So what we do, you need to make sure that the Spanish Civil War is ongoing, otherwise you obviously can't lend-lease anyone. But we're going to start a lend-lease with Spain. It can honestly be either one. Queue up all of the equipment to lend-lease to them, which is quite easy with the new like a select all button. So now that we've selected all of the equipment, we hit send, we let the game tick over for a day, and Spain has accepted our lend-lease. Now there's nothing in our stockpiles, so that in one day, when the Civil War starts, we choose Trotsky to be our leader, and there we go. So the Civil War has begun. We are now led by Trotsky, and we have like nothing in our stockpile if we play. Bit annoying, right? You've come back over to Spain that you sent your lend-lease to, open up modify the lend-lease, click clear all, and then if we let the game play for a second, oops, there we go, bang, our stockpile is full of all of the equipment that we just had. Now you can go along and deploy just as many divisions as you can. I'd probably recommend doing your cavalry divisions though, because you can put more of them down. And that should make it a lot easier to win the Soviet Civil War in particular. But if you find another country that this works for, if this is useful, then go right ahead. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful and entertaining, and if you did, please leave a like and consider subscribing to see when I post new videos. I also stream on Twitch, my link is in the description, so please stop by and say g'day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.